everybody, it is Josh Thomas. Welcome to another discussion video here at TheBitBlock. I am joined by Mr. Rogers Base.
What is going on, everybody? Hey, guess what now, Josh?
What's that?
Next weekend, or this weekend, actually, we are going to Orlando. Orlando.
It's true. This weekend, we are going to be in Florida, in Orlando, Florida, and we are going to be hitting up the theme parks. We are going to be having a blast, and we're going to be making tons of videos, and it's going to be very exciting.
Videos. Woo! Can't wait.
Today, we are going to chat about some news that everybody has been hitting me up with on Twitter nonstop and in comments section of YouTube nonstop. So we're going to talk about the news of Amiibo-related DLC coming to Animal Crossing New Leaf this autumn. Roger, I'm going to let you kick it off by saying what you think about all this stuff.
Well, first and foremost, I am half excited and half terrified. That's honestly because I'm so excited to see like Splatoon stuff added to New Leaf and to see like the Amiibo support, because they said basically like by using the Amiibos, correct me if I'm wrong, you can get those characters to come to your village.
So if you scan the Amiibo cards, you can get the character to come visit your village, but you have to convince them to stay. I believe it'll be a similar setup to when they visit your town via the campsite and they pitch a tent.
Right.
So
but if you own the Amiibo cards, though, you could just keep scanning the Amiibo cards.
Essentially, this allows you to kind of basically pick who you want to live in your town.
Which is amazing. I will scour the internet for an Amiibo card of Clay, just so I can make sure that Clay is in every village of mine from here on out. Like, I love Clay the hamster, so...
Okay, so here's, see, to me, Animal Crossing, I've obviously studied it a lot, because I did the whole make-believe stuff, and I really have been playing it for so long. To me, Animal Crossing is so addictive and so great because of the fact that you have to kind of work and hope for things to happen. So, like, a character you really want to move into your town, you kind of have to deal with the bad ones in order to really appreciate the cool ones. And I feel that if you can just stock your entire town with any animal that you want, it sort of takes something special out of the experience for me.
Well, you also don't have to do that, right?
Right,
So
but
it's an optional thing for like those people who like to have like all lion towns or all elephant towns or whatever, and so they go online and they like hunt down those people to try to have those towns. So for those people, it'll make it easier for them. But I mean, me personally, I'm not going to use this to stock my town because I'm kind of like you. Is I like randomly getting characters and finding characters who I don't like, who I'm like, oh, why is this idiot in my town?
And then
like,
when they move out, it's the greatest feeling in the world.
Right. So I like that kind of thing, and I don't think that's going away anytime soon. It's just making it easier for people who've been playing 300, 400, 500 hours of this game at this point to now sort of make it where they can make their little ideal town. And again, like for me, there's certain characters who when they move out, it's like really sad, and I really want them to come back, and now we can actually get them to come back to our village. So I like that. That much of this is good.
So, I mean, if there's, I kind of hope there's New Leaf is an old game, so at this point I really don't think there's any spoiling it, but I feel like there should be a limit to how many you can scan and have living in your town. Well, they're just like because what is it? I think it's like 10 animals will move into your New Leaf town, I believe it's 10. So if you can scan 10 and you can decide what your perfect 10 animals would be, I think you're going to find out pretty quickly that actually the game becomes boring that way then, because you have everything you could possibly want.
I think maybe for you, but again, I think for a lot of people who are trying to create their perfect towns wherever we could visit for the Dream Diaries and stuff, like, I feel like for some of those people, this is probably a good thing. Like I said, that guy who had that, like, amazing lion town near the very beginning of New Leaf, I'm sure you visited it, you know the village I'm talking about.
I went to one with all sheep.
Okay, well, there's one with all lions that was, like, incredible. It was one of the earliest, like, amazing New Leaf dream villages. And, like, for that guy, this is great, because then he could just, like, hunt online for the Amiibo cards for the lions and then create his village. But I think for him, part of the experience is not, like, the fun part of it is not, oh, hunting down these lions. The fun part is, like, oh, my God, look at this themed village that I created. So I think people can invest as much or as little as they want into this Amiibo stuff to actually have their ideal village. But for people like us, that doesn't really change anything. The thing for me that I find exciting out of this news is not necessarily the Amiibo support, it's the new content that's being added to the game through additional Amiibos. So for example, they showed off in the tweet this morning the Callie and Marie like little village costumes that you can make and like the little house that you can visit. Apparently you access that through using the Callie and Marie amiibos. And that kind of stuff is awesome, because then that means I'm not going to really use it for like the amiibo cards for the villagers, but for like my Zero Suit Samus amiibo, my Lucas amiibo, my Charizard amiibo, my Game & Watch amiibo, I could scan them into the game and then get like themed villages and houses of these characters. That is fantastic and something I've wanted from the very beginning.
So yeah, that is definitely like, getting special furniture, getting special items when you scan any of the amiibo. I think that's something that's very cool. I think maybe a little bit late, but of course amiibo weren't a thing when New Leaf was around, so you can't really blame them for not doing it. I do feel like I would prefer that to be introduced in the next Animal Crossing. I kind of wish that it was like they just held back on this. I think, I agree. Like, I don't even like Callie and Marie, but I look at that stuff. I think, oh, this is cute. There's even like new villagers, new villagers.
Yeah.
Are they squirrels? When you looked at that, did you think they looked like squirrels? What are they?
I thought they were squirrels, but I could be mistaken. They might be hamsters.
What a weird thing. Oh, they could be hamsters, I guess.
Yeah, I could look really quick. I mean, if
They've got a different body than the hamster. The hamster's head is directly connected to the rest of its body. It doesn't really have a neck. I think those are squirrels or little bears, but what a weird animal to make into the squid sisters.
Oh, they are squirrels. It looks like they are squirrels.
Yeah.
The other thing that like kind of makes me question like what this whole amiibo thing is like, did you notice the little wisp in that one image?
Yeah, so that's interesting. It almost looks like he's acting as the way that you scan the amiibo cards.
Yeah, which is weird because I've wanted Wisp to come back for a while now, and this is not how I expected him to come back.
Yeah, it's sort of random. He seems like he pops up in your house.
Yeah.
And then asks you to scan an amiibo card. So he definitely has been one of those characters in Animal Crossing where they kind of keep throwing him around with different occupations. Started out as being the spirit that wanted you to collect all the other spirits, and then he'd take away your weeds or give you a present. Then he was like a magic genie in a lamp in City Folk. And now he's Amiibo. So yeah. I guess Wisp keeps himself busy with a lot of jobs in Animal Crossing.
Do we have a Wisp Amiibo yet?
We do not, no.
We'll probably end up getting one at some point very soon.
That'd be a good one. He could be glow in the dark, just like the Boo.
Just like Boo. Oh, man. I pre-ordered the Boo with some of my leftover YouTube Next Up money that I put towards like random Nintendo stuff at the last $100, and I pre-ordered that Boo, so yeah.
I want to get a whole bunch of the Boo Amiibo and just put them up on my shelf around Halloween time.
Yeah, dude, that'd be so good. It'd be expensive, but it'd be cool.
So, it's funny, too, because there's a lot of content in these screenshots for the Callie and Marie Amiibo. We've got new wallpaper, we've got new flooring, we've got what seems to be a new table, we've got new chairs, and we've got that sign on the back as well.
Yeah. I think the thing for those that's important to note is when New Leaf came out, Splatoon didn't exist.
Right.
So they didn't really have like any Splatoon furniture or stuff that they could throw into the game beyond like custom little images that they might like upload into the Dream Villages for Nintendo, which I actually think they did it right when Splatoon came out. Wasn't there like a house with like the paint floor? And then you
so
get,
yeah,
like,
Nintendo has a Dream Suite village that they update to promote games that come out. So they had one for like Captain Toad. They altered it and made a Captain Toad house, which was really cool. Now they've got a Splatoon one, which ironically enough, I'm actually putting up a video tomorrow of where I went to visit.
Oh, the little Splatoon village?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Well, now that guy's going to be upset because he's like, oh, man, there's all this like official Splatoon stuff. I have to redo my town.
Well, it's somebody working at Nintendo Japan, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, so this goes into sort of why I'm a little scared about this news.
Yeah, let's hear why you're scared about this.
So we talked about this on the phone before we started recording, but for me, knowing that Animal Crossing app is coming later this year to the phones that a lot of people forgot about, but they announced there's an Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem app coming to phones by the end of this year that is going to work with mainline Animal Crossing games, and considering the timing of this news, where they said it's coming out in fall, because really this stuff doesn't really seem like they can't just release, I mean, they could release this today based on the screenshots, right?
Yeah.
So it makes me question why they're waiting until fall, and that maybe this is all going to be like how you connect the phone app to the mainland Animal Crossing games. And the reason that scares me is because I want an NX Animal Crossing game, and I want that phone app to work with that game, not with New Leaf. I mean, I love New Leaf. I've invested a lot of time with New Leaf, and if they could add a lot of new content to that game that I already own, then that's great. But I also really don't want them putting all the development assets into New Leaf stuff. I want a full HD NX Animal Crossing game. That's what I want next, and that's what I want them to work on. If they can work on that simultaneously while still working on New Leaf content, then great. But if this hinders development of that new game at all, then I'm kind of be a little bummed about it, I think.
So yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm kind of in that same boat where I have absolutely adored my time with New Leaf. I love that game, but I just can't really get into it anymore because I have played it so much. So it's not something that is like this new DLC, not DLC, but this Amiibo functionality. It's gonna get me to maybe check it out, and that's it, and I won't play it anymore. It's not gonna get me back invested into playing the game, and I really don't think it's gonna get me to buy any new Amiibo, really. So I'm kind of in this boat where I feel like, man, it's been 4 years since development wrapped up on New Leaf. This holiday season will be 4 years in Japan since it launched, and I feel like in that 4 years, man, we have not really seen anything in regards to a new main Animal Crossing game coming out. We've seen these 2 spin-off projects, which ultimately didn't really do much for the brand. In fact, one of them, I think you could argue, kind of hurt the brand.
Oh, Amiibo Festival absolutely hurt the brand.
Yeah, and it was weird because Animal Crossing, after New Leaf, this was like a brand that was just doing no wrong, and then we get something like Amiibo Festival. Happy Home Designer, I still feel that should have been the mobile app. That would have been a great mobile app.
See, I am actually, I disagree with you.
Do you think it's worth $40?
Yes, I do, actually.
Oh my gosh.
I've spent a lot of time in Happy Home Designer, and I have friends who spend a lot of time in Happy Home Designer, and like I do feel like, maybe not 40, but it is deserving of being a standalone title, in my opinion. I feel like there's a lot of content in there, and if you look at some of those like houses that you can make for those characters, like you just had your Animal Crossing Marathon. You know what I'm going to bring up? That funeral house for Captain's grandmother that you ran into is unbelievable. And the amount of like interesting stuff that you could do in Happy Home Designer, like with the backyards where that one guy made the Mario Party board, like I feel like there's a lot of cool design possibilities that came from that game that really would have taken a complete DLC overhaul package for New Leaf to actually implement into that. So I do think that was deserving of a standalone title, but I agree with you that Amiibo Festival absolutely hurt the brand, and people could still go back and look at that live reaction of you, me, and Matt in my old house watching the E3 presentation and seeing the first 5 seconds and going, oh my god, oh, it's new Animal Crossing, HD Animal Crossing, and then seeing the game board and just slowly seeing our hopes dash in front of our eyes.
Exactly. Yeah, so I mean, I just kind of feel like I'm done with spin-off, I'm done with side projects. I want to finally be quenched. I want my thirst to finally be quenched for exactly what you said, that big, beautiful HD Animal Crossing game. And I feel like it's been 4 years. We really should have, we should be in the point where we're going to hear about it sooner if we had seen it already. And I just wonder, man, are all these little side projects kind of just keeping a real big, exciting Animal Crossing game from happening sooner? And if the answer is yeah, kind of, then that sucks. And if it's, just a couple people working on this, Amiibo stuff for New Leaf, then I guess that's fine.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do feel like, this kind of stuff would have been even more exciting to hear about for the first time in a new Animal Crossing. Like if Animal Crossing NX came out and they were like, hey, you can use your Nintendo Amiibo to get all this cool fancy stuff, and you can scan the cards to get the animals to come visit your town. I feel like it probably would have been best to just put all those eggs in one basket for the new game, because New Leaf has kind of had its time in the sun and it was a huge success, and I really don't think this is going to get copies of New Leaf to sell more. If you haven't bought New Leaf by now, I don't really think this is going to get you to buy it. Which brings me to a point I want to make.
Yeah.
This whole thing, I'm almost absolutely certain, is because Animal Crossing Amiibo are not really selling that well. And I think Nintendo wants to get through stock.
There are so many Animal Crossing Amiibos, all over the place. I feel like Animal Crossing's Amiibo set, I honestly kind of feel like killed the Amiibo hype in North America. Because for a little while, there was a brief while where Amiibos not only were easy to find, but there were Amiibos of everything, and they were also selling well. For a month there, right before the Animal Crossing stuff came out, I don't know if you remember this, they restocked, Shulk, Lucario, all these weird characters, and they released them in all the stores. So all these characters that were originally hard to find, that people really wanted to buy, but just weren't going to spend the weird eBay money for, people bum rushed to stores to buy Shulk and Lucario and all this. And then when Animal Crossing came out, and the game that was tied to was Amiibo Festival, people just, I feel forgot about Amiibo and dropped Amiibo. And I know a lot of people, myself included, who picked up the Callie and Marie amiibos just because those are interesting, unique characters. But yeah, the Animal Crossing stuff, really the only game you could use them with is Amiibo Festival and Happy Home Designer, and they don't really add a lot to it. So
yeah, the actual figures in Happy Home Designer, I don't know what they do. I've only ever scanned cards.
Do the figures do anything?
I don't know if they do. I'm sure somebody's going to yell at me about this since I'm supposed to know everything about Animal Crossing, but I don't. I think they can get that person to maybe show
maybe you
up
make
in
the
a
house? Yeah, that's what I'm
I
thinking
don't
is
know.
maybe that character shows up at a house. I don't
But it
really
was
know.
definitely, I mean, the Amiibo functionality for Happy Home Designer was definitely targeted at the cards.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it even
wasn't
came
really so
packaged
much
with the
on
cards.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I just, I think it's cute and it's fun that it's coming out, but yeah. You know, it's another thing I want to point out is I tried to get rid of my Animal Crossing Amiibo on eBay because they're just taking up space and I was kind of disgusted
Yeah.
with Amiibo at this point. I could not sell them for like $15 for like a whole set of like 8 of them. And then I started to do a little bit more research and there was like a Japanese site selling them brand new for $1 just to get out of their stock.
Wow.
They were being sold for like $3 on Amazon. They are like completely stocked in stores. And I gotta say, I think one of the big problems is not only that they were introduced with Amiibo Festival, and I think the lesson Nintendo should learn here is the game matters first. Smash Brothers Amiibo sold so well because Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS are fantastic games.
Right.
And people wanted the Amiibo to go along with it. The Amiibo aren't what sells the game, it's the other way around.
But I will make an argument to that, which is that with Amiibo, specifically for characters like Shulk or Mr. Game & Watch or Lucas, right? These are characters who would have never otherwise had any sort of merchandise.
Right.
Whereas Animal Crossing has been one of the few franchises for Nintendo that's always been pretty good about having merchandise of the characters. Like you can get
in Japan, especially.
yeah, but also at like the Nintendo World Store, you could always get like those plushes of pretty much any of the major characters in it. And you already have like the e-reader cards. I mean, they've done merchandise stuff with Animal Crossing before. So for that, it wasn't really like new or exciting to have that type of merchandise. Whereas like for Smash Brothers and even for Splatoon, I would argue, you know, there wasn't any physical object you could own of a lot of those characters, and so people went out and bought those figures. Whereas like the Animal Crossing Amiibos that they created, there was always a lot of merchandise for the characters they already made figures for, beyond like maybe what's like Isabel's brother's name, Digby. And then like Lottie and stuff. They were new characters, so they didn't have merchandise. But I mean, there's already existed figures and plushes and stuff of Tom Nook and Cap'n and KK and all that stuff. So I think people just didn't want to invest in and pick up those characters for that.
Yeah, I think there's also, it's funny, I'm looking at an image of all of the Animal Crossing Amiibo, and I gotta say, aside from maybe Timmy and Tommy and KK Slider, they're all incredibly boring poses. They're all almost like a T pose. None of the poses are exciting or interesting. They don't really capture the character's personality that well. Mr. Resetti is just giving you like a blank stare and just
the fact that Mr. Resetti, that is the biggest mistake they made with the Animal Crossing.
Why wasn't he popping out of the base?
Why wasn't he popping out of the ground of the Amiibo figure?
And being angry. Yeah.
That makes no sense. Why
they're
they did
very
that.
boring poses, and I think that's one of the reasons that personally I didn't really want to collect them all, because they're just very boring. Also worth noting, they're the same price as the Smash Brothers Amiibo, and the Smash Brothers Amiibo are just much more intricate and detailed.
Yeah.
And I understand that it's because those characters are more detailed than an Animal Crossing character. So I feel like you've got to either charge less for the Animal Crossing Amiibo, or you have to maybe make them bigger, to where it's like, oh yeah, they're basic characters, but they're bigger than the Smash Amiibo, or
do more, or work with other games, because the Smash Amiibos work now with Animal Crossing. They worked with what? The original Smash Brothers, Mario Kart. What else did they work with? I'm trying to think of the other games they worked with.
They worked with Yoshi Woolly World.
Yoshi Woolly World. They worked with
Super Mario Maker.
Super Mario Maker. They worked with that One Piece game that came on 3DS that I imported. Like, they worked with that game.
Some of them work with Monster Hunter, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
some work with Monster Hunter. So they work with lots of other games. I think they just need to find a way to implement the Animal Crossing Amiibos into a different set. Or what I honestly think they should do from every Animal Crossing game moving forward, since the Amiibo figures are here, is I love the idea of villagers moving to your town who are basically cosplayers of these characters. Like, if I could have Callie and Marie somehow live in my town by being like little squirrels cosplaying as Callie and Marie, and those little animals think that they're those characters, like that would be so cute. And certain characters, like there's already a full Samus set that you can get for your villager. Could you imagine if you scanned in the Samus amiibo and it was basically the full Samus armor that you could put on your villager, but it was an own standalone like character that could move to your town? That would be so cool. I would love to have Samus move to my town and have Metroids in her building and it'd be so cool. So I really want them to keep that moving forward from here on out. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think amiibo functionality in the next Animal Crossing game is a given. I just want Nintendo to start having, I want them to have fun with amiibo functionality and not just throw it in there as an afterthought. I think that Animal Crossing is a game that really could have a lot of fun with amiibo.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of seeing whether or not they do it. And so far, I'm not really excited about this amiibo update for New Leaf, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that I don't really play New Leaf anymore. I tried to get it going again, and it's just not in me right now because I played so much of it. So it's cute. I'll check it out, but I'm really somebody who's like, all right, but do most of this in a new Animal Crossing game.
One thing I want to bring up too, I don't know if you noticed this, on the Splatoon Splatfest board item, the new board item, do you know what the other Splatfest thing is? There's the symbol, one symbol is the Animal Crossing symbol, obviously. What's the other one? Is that Red Shop or something?
Yeah, it's Tom Nook versus Crazy Red.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought. All right.
It looks like that must change. It must be a moving sign or something, unless they have it flipped around, because Callie and Marie are on the back of it, and then those two symbols are on the front or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's a sign that's actually moving, like a neon sign.
One thing I really want them to do, by the way, is I hope the American town, now that Monster Hunter Generations is coming out, I really hope the American Nintendo town gets updated with that really cool Monster Hunter village. Have you been to that Monster Hunter village in Japan?
No.
There's a Monster Hunter village with the cat from Monster Hunter. And he's it's awesome. It's so cool.
I believe, is that in New Leaf or is that in Happy Home Designer?
That's Happy Home Designer, yeah.
Yeah.
I want them to add that to New Leaf, though.
They've got, Happy Home Designer has some really weird items, and I was not keeping up to date with all the DLC they were adding and putting in there. So when I'm going to these towns and I'm seeing what people have designed, I'm just like, oh my god, there's a teacup ride as an item? There's genuinely
there's one with an airplane.
Ride.
You can get airplanes, and it's crazy.
So I'd love to see them bring all those items into the next Animal Crossing and just keep pushing that as well. Yeah, and it's funny to see the Monster Hunter DLC in there. There's a dripping beehive for some reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think in all this stuff that we're talking about, I think this could all be done through Amiibo.
Yeah. All I know is I want a little koala cosplaying as Olimar and his house to be Pikmin themed. That's what I want.
I'm going to tell you what I never want to see.
What do you never want to see?
Okay, you ready? I never want to see an animal wearing a skin-tight latex blue Zero suit walking around my town. I can't deal with seeing that. That would be too disturbing.
They should have for Fox and Falco. They should actually have Fox and Falco.
Oh yeah, it's funny because if Make Believe was something I was still continuing on, I have sketches of so many Nintendo characters as Animal Crossing villagers, and I did the Star Fox crew.
Yeah, because they would fit. For certain other ones, Callie and Marie could really fit too because they already had Octavian. They could have made squids.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, why didn't they make
squid? Oh man!
I was like, why didn't they use a squid or at very least use the octopus? For
squids are animals. You could easily. Oh man! Now I'm kind of bummed that they're squirrels.
Well, they still look like cute little stubby wannabe adorable squirrel things.
Yeah, they're cute. So.
So, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about it.
Yeah. Me too.
It's so funny though. One of the, we were talking earlier about how one of my problems is the poses for the Animal Crossing amiibo are so boring. It's so funny to me that they've got two Isabelle amiibos out there. One of them is her with her hands down at her side wearing her summer clothes. The other one is her with her hands down wearing her winter clothes. I think that speaks volumes in terms of how they really need to up their game with the poses. It's just it's a little boring. But KK Slider's on a stump and he's got his guitar. Timmy and Tommy are on they're 2-in-1 amiibo, which I thought was a cool idea, and they're on a box for a Tom Nook shop, and so yeah.
Pretty cute.
Mm-hmm. You ever think do you think so? Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
They're kind of running out of amiibo for the main characters. We've got amiibo for most of the Animal Crossing characters.
Yeah.
Except we didn't get one of the Able sisters, which is really, really
That is strange. Yeah.
And, two of them. Technically, there are two Able sisters we have not gotten. But, yeah, do you think that we'll ever get to the point where we start to get the just general villagers as amiibo?
No way. No, I think they're sticking to the cards because there's so many of them. That's that's the idea. Like if they had like a full Pokemon set and they had all the Pokemon as different, like I don't think they'll ever make
So you won't think
figures
they'll
of
even
those.
select some of the most popular?
Unless there was like a poll they did online or something, and they were like, "Who are the top 5 most popular villagers? Vote, and then we'll make them into amiibos." Like I could see them doing something like that, but I think there's just so many of them that I can't imagine because they're already having stock issues with like main characters. Like there's people who there isn't really a demand for some of those main characters.
Right, exactly.
So
That's
I think
a good point.
it'd be hard for them to sort of be like, okay, well we'll make like the most popular villagers instead, because I still think there'll be stock issues. Because
You know, there are some Animal Crossing amiibo that I would jump at the opportunity to buy.
I would buy if there was a Clay figure. Like I said, Clay the hamster, I would buy immediately.
Well, I was gonna say the holiday characters like Franklin and Jack.
Oh,
you know,
if they
I want
release
a
them for the
Jack
holidays,
amiibo
it'd be
so
awesome.
bad.
Yeah, I want who's the peacock for?
That's Pave.
Pave. I want Pave, dude.
Right, so I think that would be, you know what they could even do? They could even release them in 2 packs. So we've got 3 in a pack, and there are 2 of them, so there's 6 characters in general, and they're the holiday Animal Crossing amiibo.
They could release
That-
those seasonally. That would be cool, like a 3-pack.
Right,
like,
or even, yeah.
yeah, for winter or fall, they could have like Jack, Jingle, and Franklin. And then for like the spring, they could have Pave. And oh man, and
Nat,
Easter Bunny,
the Nat for the fishing
and
competition.
Nat for the
Chip
fishing competition. Oh man, dude.
for the. You know what? We need to start working at Nintendo because we're coming up with a way to rejuvenate the interest in Animal Crossing.
Nah,
amiibo
man,
here.
that used to be my thing. I was like, I want to work for Nintendo one day. I'm like done with that now. I'm like, I want Nintendo to just like get their stuff together, and
Yeah.
I'll watch from afar. I don't want to be part of that. I'm happy sitting over here making Star Wars tweets and
See, I'm not. I want the holiday Animal Crossing amiibo pack now, and I'm going to do everything we can to get this going.
Yeah, I actually have faith though. This is something that maybe leads into a different discussion, so I don't want to get too much into it. But between Pokemon Go and sort of some of the stuff they're doing with the holiday, with like the re-released NES, and then now with this stuff with the Animal Crossing thing, and now with the theme parks and the Kirby cafes, I do kind of feel like we're in the middle of a Kimishima renaissance. I do kind of believe in Kimishima. I trust within the next year, I could really see Nintendo doing some awesome, different, unique things that I think were kind of held down before through the Wii U and things like that. Now with the Wii U sort of fading out, with the 3DS is still doing pretty strong, and now they're adding more content to those really strong games. We've got the NX on the horizon, the theme park. I do kind of feel like we're entering a new Nintendo renaissance, and it scares me in one way because it's like if it doesn't go really well, then I'm afraid for like what the future of Nintendo could be. But I also feel like we are on the cusp of some of the best Nintendo has ever been, especially having played like Breath of the Wild and seeing some of the stuff with Sun and Moon. Like the new Pokemon game's looking great. Zelda's looking to be like one of the best Zelda games of all time. I'm excited. I'm excited for what Nintendo's future has in store for us. So
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that we went through a very dark period in Nintendo.
Oh, last year was dark, man.
Yeah,
We had
yeah.
Mario Maker was like the sole beacon of hope in just like a year of garbage and sludge. So,
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, I just feel like the whole Wii U generation in general, there were definitely some games that are fantastic, but there was a lot of misdirection going on.
Yeah.
And I agree with you that we're out of the woods. We're at this point where we can see the beautiful pastures ahead.
Yeah.
And we just got to keep going. And I think this fall, we have the potential to really be blown away when we get to see what the NX is all about. We get to see those games and
Yeah.
what the future of Nintendo could be.
Yeah.
Interesting to know. Again, we might be getting into another discussion here, but I just want to point this out real quick. Universal Studios has no projects announced after 2017.
Really?
So we know everything they're building, and then during 2017, we know no idea what's going up next. And usually we do know a couple years in advance. So what I'm saying is, I think towards the end of 2017 is when we're going to start officially seeing them break ground on Nintendo Land.
Exciting.
So that is going to be pretty cool. Hey, and also, you and I are going to Florida, and we're going to be there, and we're going to do a video where we're going to speculate where Nintendo Land's going to be going.
That's going to be a lot of fun. Be like, here's the Woody Woodpecker thing that's getting chopped down. So
we're gonna take it down while we're there.
We'll actually take it down. We'll bring spray paint and we'll like sort of spray Woody Woodpecker into Falco from Star Wars.
We'll color him blue.
Color him blue. What are you doing, kids? Oh, it's fine. It's fine. You guys are taking this out anyway. It's fine.
Hey, Roger, where can people find you?
Sure, they can find me Rogers Base on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Miiverse. Check me out on Instagram too. Yeah, Rogers Base. Be sure
You
to follow.
still use Miiverse?
I do use Miiverse a lot. Yeah. I love
Weird.
it, dude. It's cool. I love it.
Be sure to follow.
I have thousands of followers on Miiverse. Thousands. Or 8,000. Probably 8,000, maybe.
Oh my gosh.
But I got a lot of followers on Miiverse.
I'm amazed that you actively use Miiverse.
It's
still.
fun, dude. Like, communicating with fans and reading all the weird, cringy stuff that gets posted on all the weird little, the subsections. Like, you'll go on, like, the Animal Crossing New Leaf section or whatever, and you'll read all these little villages, and, oh, come check out my village. Here's my dream diary. And then all of a sudden, you'll just see, hey, what's going on, everybody? Cheer me up with a cool villager because my dad left me and is never coming back this morning. And it's like, whoa, it came out of nowhere, man. So it's fun to read those kind of things.
I like to go on the Crunchyroll Miiverse. I've done this actually a couple weeks ago, and I draw really horrible anime pictures.
That's actually
But
really
I act
funny.
very serious about them.
That's
I'm like,
really
give me
funny.
feedback, please.
Well, cool.
All right. Hey, Roger, thanks for chatting with me about Animal Crossing New Leaf Amiibo functionality coming this fall for free. Free update, but obviously you need to buy the Amiibo.
Yeah, and the game, New Leaf. If you
And the
already
game,
have it.
yes. Okay. Which you should have by now.
Yeah, definitely. If you're a failure at life, if you don't already have New Leaf.
And on that, we'll end this discussion.
All right.